This video is a special one for me because it's my all-time favorite hike. I've been to 22 national parks and I've visited so many cool places across the country, but the hike up Wasson Peak in Saguaro National Park, it has to be my favorite. Wasson Peak is the highest point in Saguaro National Park and the highest point in the Tucson Mountains. It's 4,688 feet above sea level, which is not too tall, but it's still cool to climb up to the highest point in the area. Even right from the beginning of the trail, you can just see amazing views all around, and you can even see the Santa Rita Mountains in the distance. If you're not familiar with desert landscapes, this right here is a wash, which is basically just a dried up riverbed. And if I haven't mentioned earlier, this trail, which is a loop up to Wasson Peak and back, is about 8 miles long and a little under 2,000 feet of elevation gain, I think around 1,800. On this day, I started the hike around 2 in the afternoon, which is probably a bit too late, but my goal was to make it back before sunset, or at least before it got too dark out. Along the slopes of the trail, I saw a few white-tailed deer just grazing around the cactus and other desert vegetation. Eventually, the trail made its way down into the wash that I saw from earlier, and then I reached a junction where it started to head even more uphill. Along the way, I saw some really cool desert plants. Aside from the giant saguaro cactus, some of the other things you'll see in these landscapes are cholla cactus, sparrow cactus, octillos, palo verdes, and even some flowers that are blossoming. The thing that I especially like about the hike to Wasson Peak and why it's one of my favorites is that it's really not too stressful and you get to enjoy amazing views the entire way up. It's not like you'll only get the best views at the summit. There's a very brief section with some switchbacks, but for the most part it's just a very gradual uphill that's, I'd say, doable for anyone in decent shape. Quick little story time. This was actually my second time doing the hike to Wasson Peak. The first time was a few years ago, still back when I was in college, when I took a trip to Saguaro National Park, and I just loved the city of Tucson and this whole area so much that I eventually decided to move here. I was actually on the board of our school's backpacking club, and when we were planning spring break trips for that next year, I was like, hey, we should make Saguaro National Park one of our new destinations. And to this day, I think it's still on our list. After a bit, I reached a saddle in the trail, where I decided to stop for a quick snack break. From here it's really cool because you can see all the way to the other side of the mountains, and it's a beautiful view of the city of Tucson and the Catalina Mountains to the north. I continued climbing up some switchbacks, saw a cool airplane in the sky, and just more amazing panoramic views all around. This section of the trail had some fairly steep drop-offs. I'm a little bit afraid of heights, so not gonna lie, it got my heart racing just a little bit. But all in all, it wasn't too bad, especially compared to some other hikes I've done before. This small mountain range over here is part of Tucson Mountain Park, and right here you get your first view of Wasson Peak. As I got closer and closer to the peak, the views just became more and more expansive, and I could start to see in almost every direction. Finally, I reached the summit, and from here, I'll just let the views speak for themselves. It's literally a 360 of Tucson, the surrounding mountain ranges, and just the entire region. After spending some time to just take in the scenery, I eventually started making my way back down the mountain. The trail back, though, was almost as amazing as the trail up to the summit, especially during golden hour as the sun was setting. This view right here is definitely one that I'll never forget. Wait, what was that? Oh shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for the video to end there, but my phone actually ran out of battery on the way back, so I didn't get to record the rest of the hike. But, maybe I'll go back there again someday, and you'll see it. Anyways, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'd really appreciate if you could give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like these. Within the next month or so, I'm actually planning to visit what you might not know is the most dangerous national park in the country, so stay tuned for a video about that soon, as well as maybe a day trip or two in the meantime.